Hey guys, sorry for looking like this and sorry for this being up so late. I had a whole bunch of things going on, the worst of which was that my cell phone wasn't charging. The charger I have isn't working. I couldn't get it to charge at all. It would charge for a second and then turn off. So I had to go find my mom's charger and yeah. But as the title says, today I'm doing my #AYearAthon April wrap-up. The theme was fantasy sci-fi, and I mostly stuck with fantasy, but I did go into a little sci-fi. The main thing I wanted to read was The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, book 1 of the Mistborn series, since there's 5 of these books, or will be 5. I didn't complete it. So let's go through my day-by-day breakdown. I started things off on day 1 by reading the last 127 pages of Battle Magic by Tamara Pierce. This is her latest book. It's part of the Circle of Magic world, following Briar and Rosethorn and Evie. So you should read Circle of Magic and then The Circle Opens, those quartets, which altogether are about the size of this book, before you read this, but you don't have to. You should read this definitely before Melting Stones. You can't read Melting Stones without reading this, and you should read it before The Will of the Empress. So this is kind of like a side novel just following Briar, Evie, and Rosethorn. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's one of the few Tamara Pierce books that I don't own, but I want to. So I started by reading this at midnight until I went to bed at like 4 in the morning. Then I read the first 104 pages of Final Empire, which undershot my 396 page goal. I was trying to get through half of this, but I didn't realize how small the font is. This book is a behemoth. It's huge. So I can see why people would take an entire month to read this. In a week, it's not really possible. Instead, I read 231 pages total. For day 2, my goal was 269, the latter half of Mistborn. Again, not possible. I read 85 pages, bringing my week total up to 316. Day 3, I was with my girl, LA Knight. It was her birthday. We had a book shelving party. Mostly I just hung out while she shelved books. That seems like I'm lazy, but I was editing and discussing things with her. And with what we were doing, it was a one-person job. So 2 people couldn't really do it except at certain parts, otherwise they'd just get in that person's way. So when she needed help, I assisted her. Otherwise she was mostly on her own, which seems terrible, but yeah, I was like step and fetch for whenever she needed it. So I set my goal for 10 pages and I overshot it by reading 61 more pages of Final Empire. That brought my week total up to 377. Day 4, I started to panic. I'm planning on going to Phoenix Comic-Con and some of my plans are falling through. I was having some other problems. Also, yeah, I read only 2 pages of Final Empire because of it, but I picked up from the library The Saga of Rex by Michael Gagne, or Gagne, or however you say that name. I don't know, it's Canadian French. I read all 200 pages of this. It is so good. This is so cute. It's mostly pictures. I read this all in like 10 minutes. And then my girl at night, Kate, was over on Saturday and she read it in 10 minutes. The artwork is amazing. So beautiful. It just follows this little fox who has been selected by this alien to take this test by falling in love with this creature that becomes his soulmate and seeing whether they're worthy to enter this alien's planet to breed. It's so cute, and there's like even sad parts, and it's just beautiful, and I loved it, and it helped me calm down. So that brought my daily total up to 202 pages, bringing my weekly total up to 579. You know, this wasn't really on my TBR, but hey. On day 5, I read another 3 pages of Final Empire. I was just having problems reading this at the end. And then I read 38 pages in The Brothers Grimm Complete Fairy Tales, bringing my daily total up to only 41 pages, but it brought my week total up to 617. Then we had day 6, and my goal was 10 pages because I knew I was going to be with my friends again. I went and saw Insurgent, so stay tuned for that movie review. I had other things planned, but I thought, oh, I can squeeze in 10 pages. I read 0. So my week total stayed the same at 617. And then was day 7. My goal was 100 pages. I didn't want to read Mistborn. This is a really, really dark book. And if y'all know, I'm very religious. I believe in following the Sabbath, so I wasn't really sure, like, should I read it or not. I decided to not read it, and instead I wanted to try to continue the complete fairy tales. I read 22 more pages of this, but when a guy kidnapped a girl, and it was portrayed as kind of romantic, and then he killed his kids and smeared their blood on some guy that saved them, and his kids magically came back to life, I was just kind of like, okay, I'm good. Yeah, that was too much. So I set that down. I didn't know what else to read, and I decided to pick up The Day of the Reckoning, Jedi Apprentice number 8 by Jude Watson. This was a reread for me, but I read 84 pages, bringing my total up to 106, overshooting my 100-page goal. I did read another 50 pages of this, but I didn't really want to count it. So, counting up all my daily goals for the week, my week goal was 987 pages. I didn't match that, but I did pretty good, I think. I read 723. So it's not bad. It's not the greatest. But I finished 2 books, got them off my TBR. I got really far in Final Empire. I've already finished this, and I also started The Brothers Grimm. I don't know if you guys know, but I have this rule of if a book has sat unread on my shelves for a solid year, I sell it. And this sat for over a year. So starting this, I managed to read enough that I'm not going to sell this, which is nice, although I do need to get another copy. This is extremely beat up. Library sales. Alright, so that's what I did for #AYearAthon. If y'all participated, how well did you do? I don't know how Raven did. She thought the final day wasn't the final day, that it was over, and I went, no. It goes until Sunday night at midnight. It's Monday through Sunday, not Sunday through Saturday. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to see more every Friday. It's a book review. Again, Insurgent review coming soon. Good luck with your reading, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! My camera, not my camera. It's one of the few longest time I thought our name was Tamara. It's Tamora. It's one of the few I'm playing and go sideways. I'm that way. So I only read 4 more pages of Final Empire just because I couldn't focus. Actually, no, I didn't read Final Empire. Yeah, I read 2 pages. It's mostly, I did read another 40 pages of this, but not 40, 50. I did read 2 books.